needs. Cart King is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile coffee, food, and retail carts and kiosks. Cart King has been working with clients and corporations across North America for 20 years, providing innovative designs, custom manufacturing, and timely delivery. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on our website. Please visit us today at www.cart-king.com or just call us at 1-877-986-7771 and get your sales rolling.
PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with Pure Soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. They have a little promotion going on. Contact them to order some soap. Mention the Opperman Report. You're going to get a free gift. They're going to send a little extra soap, travel size, soap bars and laundry soap, cleaning soap flakes. I've been using that stuff all day long today. Great stuff. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild.
Tina Helmuth is writing an ongoing series of fact-fiction books that boldly takes on today's most heinous crimes. Suffer the Little Children, The Wrath of the Father, and Unbreakable. Deeply researched and mixed with the supernatural, good versus evil makes these thrillers hard to put down. Available at lulu.com in paperback or ebook.
If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents, they handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to kmdlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law.
It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, Ed Opperman. We're here today with Sophie Poldermans, who's written this incredible book, Seducing and Killing Nazis, Hani, Truce, and Freddie, Dutch Resistance Heroines of World War II. Now, Sophie, these women were a direct influence in your life.
Yes, that's correct. I mean, I met both Truce and Freddie when I was in high school, when I was 16. When in high school I had to write a history research project on a self-chosen topic. That topic was evident for me, Hani Schaft. Hani Schaft is an icon, or became an icon, like Anne Frank, whereas Anne Frank's story is about survival. Hani Schaft's story is really about female Dutch resistance. And yes, I mean, I had always been fascinated by wars and the fact that people are apparently capable of committing horrible crimes. But at the same time, there's always people who resist and remain to believe in humanity. And as a girl, I was looking for positive female role models at the same time, and I found that both in Hani Schaft. So I really dived into her life and her resistance work. And then through a friend of my father, I discovered Truce's contact details. And I called her up for an interview. and she invited me over, and immediately a bond grew from there. She could easily have been my grandmother, but she trusted me with her story because she thought it was very important for the next generation to carry on and to this story. And she saw how serious and dedicated I was. So she founded actually the National Handelshoft Commemoration Foundation. And she asked me to be a keynote speaker at that same year. So that's what I did when I was 17 in packed church. It's interesting. And that's where I met Freddie as well, who told me her side of the story. And then after I also did a gap year as an exchange student in Sandpoint, Idaho, in the U.S. And then when I came back, I joined the board of the National Handelshof Foundation for about a decade. I knew both Oversteegen sisters, Truus and Freddie, for 20 years. And had a really close friendship, especially with Truus, and I learned so much from them. And I kind of followed in Handelshoft's footsteps by studying international criminal law. So these three women have had a major impact on my life, both private and professionally.
Yeah, it's so important for young people out there to seek out elderly wisdom, and to seek out that kind of guidance. But also, too, it's important for people, when you're old and wise, to take out the time to guide these young kids as well. We're not going to get anywhere unless we reach the kids that are in high school now. We can't be reaching adults. We need to reach targeting for the future.
Exactly. I mean, they're the next generation.
Exactly, and the people in power now, they that's what they're doing. They're sitting up in the perch. We want to fight back. Now, do you think was it these women? Were they the greatest influence in your life?
It's hard to say the greatest, but they definitely had a very big impact on my life, and I think they will always continue to have such an impact. Sure.
What about your parents and your family? Were they also of the same mindset?
Yes. I mean, my father was an archaeologist, so I also grew up with history, and my mom is a social geographer, or a human geographer, I should say. So yeah, I grew up with the concept of equality and justice, and yeah. Definitely, of course, they were important.
Okay,
yeah.
It's just such a great story. Now, what about yourself? Now, these women went out there and they would go out and seduce and kill Nazis. When you're over in Rwanda, do you ever go out and...
No, I
never done that. Would you admit it?
Definitely do not want to draw attention to it.
Okay.
No, but I did research as to sexual violence because that was used as a weapon of war in Rwanda during the genocide. But of course, I am Western white, so I really interviewed the women who really, and the entire community, all the people who went through it, visited prisons, and yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah, and sexual slavery and rape is
Yeah.
rampant in these conflicts.
Yes, it's a very effective tool as well when it comes to a weapon of war. But yeah, it was only recently recognized as such. It was before, it was always seen as a private matter and not as a public matter. So it's really important that this has just only been recently been recognized in international criminal law as a war crime.
And even the UN peacekeeping troops are notorious for this.
I know, yes, it's horrible. The people that you think you can trust that are there to establish peace. Yes. So some of them, of course. I mean, there's a lot of great UN peacekeepers out there. Thank God.
Oh, sure. There's always a couple of good guys out there. Now, what about?
Yeah.
Not every apple is rotten. Now, what about, I've heard stories at Abu Ghraib, and even the Phoenix program too as well, where not only would they abduct the parents, but they would bring in their families too. They would abduct the families and rape the children and the wives in front of the men they were torturing and interrogating. That's common.
Yeah, so it's very common, and then it's often gang rape, and then it's rape combined with mutilation in like the most horrible ways. Yeah, it's really heavy.
It really is. It really is. Now,
both physically and mentally, yes.
And this is by the people that we think are the good guys.
Yeah. Well, yes, and that's really why we need tools like international criminal law. I mean, and that's also the great challenge with international criminal law, the implementation and the enforcement mechanism, especially when it comes to UN. So yeah, there's still a lot of work out there.
Do you feel optimistic?
Yes, I of course. I mean, there will always be wars, so you also have to be realistic in that sense. But I always see people who rise to the circumstances, who resist, who show genuine leadership, and despite everything they've went through, and Truus and Freddie were some examples, and I saw others in Rwanda and Bosnia and Kosovo, that these people are just so incredibly strong. I'm always fascinated by them, and then I really can learn personally also a lot from them, and I hope a lot of other people will as well. That just to be strong and to embrace justice and to really stand up for others. Yeah, I think that's important because it starts out small. I mean, it starts with bullying in kindergarten already, and at work. So if you don't do something about it, then we have the tools within to react.
Yeah, I saw a movie last year, a documentary film called Las Sandinistas by this incredible filmmaker. I had her on the show. I interviewed the filmmaker. And again, too, in that revolution, the major conflicts, major victories, combat victories, were led by young women, 18, 19 years old. Is that common even in Rwanda and places like that? Could it be?
Yes, definitely. And I think that's why I also founded Sophie's Women of War, to shed light on these stories, because they're often unrepresented or neglected. But you can really see a shift from traditional human rights leader like Martin Luther King and Mandela and Gandhi toward these young women. I mean, think of Anne Frank, but also Malala and Greta Thunberg. So these are not only women, but they're teenagers. So and it's only recent. Of course, they've always been there, but it's only recent that that these stories are being recognized.
Yeah, my own daughter. I gotta tip my hat to her as a revolutionary in her own. There are pictures of Che Guevara on the wall there, and the Black Panther Party for self-defense. How can people help support the Sophie's Women of War, all the work you're doing?
Well, by look in the mirror, learn from this story, from the book. So if you're at home on your couch trying to save lives, then open up the book, which is available through my websites and Amazon. And the audiobook was just released, narrated by Tavia Gilbert, famous New York actress.
Oh, great.
And because the knowledge about World War II is fading, and people who actually lived through the war are dying. So that's why I think this story is so important. And I interviewed only, firsthand eyewitnesses. And yet at the same time, we see a shocking increase of Holocaust deniers. So that's why these stories are so important. So you can... it all starts with awareness raising. Knowledge is power, I think. And this book can serve as a tool. And if people are interested in lectures on Rwanda or anything, you can all book, even virtually. I do presentations online. If companies, universities, whoever are interested, you can